Now, in case of a multiple birth, the leave shall be extended by 1 month for each child, counting from the second child. So this means your first kid will give you 6 months, second kid will give you 7 months, third kid will give you 8 months, so on and so forth. So, yeah, you could probably get up to a whole year or more, depending on how many kids you have. Now, the thing is, as far as this goes, this also deals with the social insurance laws. So, as far as female employees that are in the situation that may not have a work permit because they're married to a Vietnamese national, that I'm pretty sure you can still take this prenatal leave and they can't say anything about it because it's in the law. So, moving on. Clause 2. During maternity leave, the female employee is entitled to maternity benefits as prescribed by social insurance laws. Right there. So, yeah, that's basically what I said earlier, but now it's right there. So, yeah. And Clause 3. After the maternity leave stipulated in Clause 1 of this article expires, if so demanded, the female employee may be granted additional unpaid leave under terms agreed upon with the employer. Right there. Reason why that's important is simple. Say if 6 months or so isn't enough for you and you need an extra month or two because you're not feeling good, you can agree with that with your employer. But here's the thing. Your employer cannot go ahead and fire you. And that's going to be discussed in the next article. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and continue on with that. So, Clause 4. The female employee may return to work before the expiry of her statutory maternity leave stipulated in Clause 1 of this article after she has taken at least 4 months of leave, provided she has obtained a confirmation from a competent health facility that the early resumption of work does not adversely affect her health. The employer receives a prior notice of the early resumption and agrees to the early resumption. In this case, besides the salary of the working days, which is paid by the employer, the female employee shall continue to receive the maternity allowance in accordance with social insurance laws. So essentially, if the female employee goes back to work 2 months early at the 4-month mark and it's approved, then she still receives her maternity benefits from social insurance laws in addition to her regular salary, which means that you can go ahead and cash in and get a lot more money that way. But only if you have paid into the system, only if you've paid into the social insurance. Moving on. Now, male employees. Here's something specifically written for us. Male employees. A male employee whose wife gives birth, an employee who adopts a child under 6 months of age, a female employee who becomes a surrogate mother, shall be entitled to maternity leave in accordance with social insurance laws. So you can also be entitled to maternity leave. So for foreign workers, if you're married to a Vietnamese spouse and if you're a man and you're married to a Vietnamese woman and you actually want a work permit, then as long as you've paid into the social insurance laws, you can also be entitled to maternity leave. So you can also collect maternity benefits just like your wife. And it says so right there. And remember, we've already covered earlier on that foreign workers are covered under the labor law. That's why I keep mentioning foreign workers a lot. So, moving on. Article 140, Employment Security for Employees After Maternity. This is one of the biggest articles I can ever go ahead and speak. An employee, okay, so we're going to read this again. Article 140, Employment Security for Employees After Maternity. An employee shall be reinstated to his or her previous work when he or she returns to work after the maternity leave prescribed in Clause 1, Clause 3, and Clause 5 of Article 139 of this Labor Code without any reduction in his or her salary, rights, and benefits before the leave. This means that your employer, by law, must reinstate you to your previous post without any reduction in your salary, your rights, or anything like that. Everything should be as it was before you left. And in case your post is no longer available due to downsizing or whatever else, your employer must go ahead and assign you another work with a salary not lower than the salary that you received prior to the maternity leave. So say, for instance, your job is no longer available because of downsizing or it got moved into something else or blah, 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 whatever, right? What this means is simple. This means that your employer must give you another job. They don't have a choice. They must give you another job with a salary that's not lower than what you received previously. So if they don't have that many jobs available, but the job they have for you is a lower paying one, well, they still have to give you that job, but they still have to give you the same salary that you got before. So it may be a lower paying job for other people, but you can still get your same salary. So say, for instance, if you had a management job and the management job is no longer available and you have to take a regular employee job, you still get manager salary and manager benefits, even though you're no longer a manager. That's what that means. Now, Article 141, moving on. So Article 140, I want everybody to remember this. It's one of the biggest things ever for everybody. Remember this. Article 141. We're reaching the end of this, so yeah, hopefully I can go and get this video out. Article 141. Allowances for during period of child care. Let's read that over again. Article 141. Allowances for during period of care for sick children, pregnancy, and implementation of contraceptive methods. Now this one is a little bit, I don't know what the word is for it, but again, everything I'm speaking is in an educational context, even though it's marked as entertainment. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get through this. When an employee takes leave to take care of a sick child aged under 7, have prenatal care checkup due to miscarriage, abortion, stillbirth, therapeutic abortion, implementation of contraceptive methods, or sterilization, the employee shall receive allowance for the leave period in accordance with social insurance laws. So this means that if someone has to go ahead and take leave so they can take care of a sick child under the age of 7, they receive an allowance for it under the social insurance laws. If they have to have a prenatal care checkup, same thing. If something's due to, something really terrible happens, like a miscarriage, abortion, stillbirth, therapeutic abortion, which what that is what's called an ectopic pregnancy, where they have to abort the fetus from the ectopic pregnancy because it's in the fallopian tube. And yeah, we're not going to get into that, but needless to say, that's what that means. Now, implementation of contraceptive methods or sterilization, what this means is implanting devices like the IUD or maybe pills, shots, stuff like that, or sterilization, where you go ahead and, for men, have the vas deferens snipped, or for ladies to go ahead and have the tubes where the eggs come down into the uterus, have that tied off and probably burned to go ahead and make sure the eggs can't go through there. So it's a little bit of medical stuff, but like I said, this is all presented in a educational context. So moving on. So contraceptive or sterilization, we already covered all that. So the employee is required to receive allowance for leave period in accordance with social insurance laws. So your employer must make sure that you receive an allowance for this leave period. Now, what the allowance is, I have no clue, because that's what social insurance laws, but your employer should know this. Last one. And then I'm going to go ahead and have a little chat with everyone. Article 142, jobs and works that are harmful to childbearing and parenting functions. The Minister of Labor, Clause 1. The Minister of Labor, War, Invalids, and Social Affairs, Lisa, shall promulgate the list of jobs and works that are harmful to childbearing and parenting functions. Now, I think what you should do for Clause 1 of this is actually look it up. Look it up. If there's a sheet available, let me know, so I can go ahead and post it up here, or post it somewhere and talk about it, so that we can start listing off jobs that are harmful to childbearing and parenting functions. Now, employers must provide adequate information to their employees on the hazards and requirements of the works before the employees make their decisions. Ensure occupational safety and health of the employees when assigning them any of the works on the list mentioned in Clause 1 of this article. Now, I know, again, that a lot of things that are written in here don't look right, but that's because it was translated from Vietnamese into English, and there's a lot of grammatical errors and stuff like that. But what this means is that the employer must give adequate information about the hazards of the job if there's any there. If they don't, then they can get sued. Reason why is this way the employee can make a decision as to whether or not they want to work for the employer or not. Because the employer has a lot of toxic problems and they don't tell the employees get sick and they get cancer and stuff like that, then the employee can say truthfully that they didn't choose to do that. They didn't choose to get cancer. So you see what I'm saying? So, all right. So that's the end of this. So that's the end of the gender equality laws for this particular topic. Now, since this is a super long format, I didn't really want it to be like that, but it is what it is. Since this is a super long format, I just want to go ahead and tell everyone this. Vietnam is making great strides in gender equality, and I'm actually quite pleased to go ahead and see the gender equality laws enshrined in the labor code, because it tells people that yes, Vietnam does care about women. Vietnam really does. It's the employers that don't. And I know that that may sound controversial, but to me, that's my point of view. Vietnam loves, cherishes, and respects women, but the employers do not. Because you see a lot of reports about female employees being mistreated all the time. I bet that a lot of female employees who look at this video would go ahead and tell me to my face they didn't even know that these laws existed. Why? That's sad. Everybody should know their rights. Everybody should know how to protect themselves from bad employers. Everybody should know how to hold bad employers accountable when they mess up. That's the way I feel about it. I do support gender equality in the workforce. I do support people being paid the exact same for the exact same work performed if both people have the exact same experience and the exact same qualifications. I do support being paid the exact same wage regardless of male or female, young, old, whatever else. Be paid the exact same wage. Now, the way I see it, Vietnam has a long way to go because, as I mentioned, Vietnam loves women, but employers don't. It will take a very long time for the employers to change their ways. But I sincerely hope that by the time my daughter enters the workforce, that she will have a kind, caring employer that will actually help her and not use her. I'm going to go ahead and end this video today by telling you all to please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video. This is literally one of the biggest videos I put out so far. The other big ones that are coming down the line are going to talk about how you can quit your job and not worry about a lawsuit. Yep, that's one of the big ones that's coming out. Maybe not right away, but soon. So, again, like I said, please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And please send me a tip. Send me a donation, cash, goods, something. I have an international bank account, so I can't take money from anywhere in the world. But it will be converted to Vietnamese dong so I can go ahead and get it into my account. Now, as a reminder, it's not just me living in this house. I also have my 2 elderly parents-in-law, my wife, my daughter, and myself. So 5 people living under one roof. And my daughter's 17 months old and she needs diapers and formula. So please go ahead and think about contributing. Go ahead and message me on Google App at tuxedoshadow@gmail.com. And if you have Zalo, please go ahead and subscribe to the Zalo chat room link. that Zalo chat room link are for English teachers and anybody else in Vietnam that's interested in learning their rights. So I'm going to go ahead and say, have a good day, be safe, and please make sure to remember everything I've talked about today.